Alright, so hey guys, uh, this is the 10 minutes speaking video. I'm so sorry because yesterday actually I focused too much on working for my YouTube channel and my Facebook and I forgot. Actually, I was not forgot, but I just skipped the 30 minutes speaking and the 20 minutes speaking French, and I'm not gonna repeat it again because I really need it in order to improve my skill. Okay, so this is the 10 minutes speaking, so let's do it. Let's say you're afraid of public speaking, right? So you're about to go down on the stage and you feel anxiety. The default state of someone who doesn't want to give the experience is just recognize the one who do not advise worry about the experience. I mean, the anxiety is kindled just by mere thought what we have to do. Then once you feel about the butterflies, you're with them, right? You contract, your mind contracts around it. Your conversation with yourself is an happy one. It's like, what am I person which just can't lie? I can see the people this all the time. They're relaxed and happy. And when am I end, you're talking about yourself, you're not noticing because your thoughts just go behind you as far as they can, and they seem to be you trying to identify with each thought that emerges in consciousness. And most of the little lies are thought there's no alternative. Don't give a rule book for how to operate a human mind, right? There's no place in normal human education where you're or it's even indicated there's a even alternative here, and so we get kind of stumble out into our adulthood. More or less memory that we have will always the mind that we have, then that is there's the only thing we can do to really operate our firmware is to just add new content. We can add new books, we can develop interest, but there's nothing the sub-rooted level of our emotional and cognitive mind that can change. If you feel anxiety, there's actually a place in which you can just feel it, right? And be actually indifferent to it or anything else you could be feeling. I mean, just turn it to even an unpleasant sensation. But first, notice anxiety. It isn't unpleasant, it's so close to excitement. And it's actual physiology. Really, the difference between excitement and anxiety is more or less just the different. It's just story you think yourself. If you felt these tingles, and so the unrealized respond right before you're about to go on a roller coaster. That's part of why you're going on a roller coaster, right? That experience. That why you find out and you feel that way when you're about to have an interview or you're about to walk on stage. That's terrible, right? So just dropping back and realizing the power of framing is again is a skill that is a fairly intrinsic one, but many people are learning it. They secrets out. Most of what people care about can be taught up as a skill. I mean, well-being is a skill, not suffering necessarily is a skill. Noticing your emotional life and regulating negative emotion is a skill. The moment you begin practicing mindfulness with just learning to pay lost attention to the nature of your experience, adding anything to it when you just noticing. It's like to be you moment to moment. But in a way that it is not reactive, you are not grasping at what's pleasant or brushing at what's where you're just that is the story of telling yourself what sorry you're thinking, and you can either become more and more mindful of what and interrupt that more and more. You can reframe this potentially and tell yourself a better story. You can actually just engineer. You can change the chord that you're running moment to moment. You sort of use a negative imagination where you think of on a bad thing that happened to you, right? You're just in traffic, driving to the job that you don't like, and you're frustrated. You can think of all the things that could happen to you, right? It happened, and if any one of them happened to you, you will consider your prayers and ensure that you could just be returned to this moment, and you could be the guy who today is going to find out you've got 2 months left, right? And you have to the next 2 months spent just unwinding your body of rest, right? You're not that guy, right? It hasn't happened to you yet. That's just a more thinking. But it can happen to a profound effect. You can reframe or experience in a way that doesn't actually change anything material about your circumstance. You can let the light in. And there's many techniques like that, and they're just a matter of invoking useful concepts skillfully. Just using a plan, and it begins to bounce. And even those who aren't actually afraid to fly can feel anxious and significant turbulence. And when we don't feel anxious, well, we have some thought that turbulence might be dangerous, right? That can make it more likely the plane will crash. And of course, surely severe turbulence can cause a plane to crash. This that we know from the statistics of plane crashes is a very, very rare thing. So now, unless you are in that rare and horrible experience of being actually thrown out the cabin so that you get injured, it's likely that bouncing is not physically painful, right? It's you're not being harmed, but it's in other context you could subject yourself to even more violent bouncing and not be worried about it on might go or still ride at a amusement park, which exerts greater force on your body. And you do it because you're seeking the spirits out. Now the eggplant is totally unwelcome to you. You just take the wrong sensation they know the problem. It's what they pretend. It's your interpretation of them that worries you. There are at least two levels at which you can deal with this. The first is to think conceptually about nature of a problem and what you about you feel is nicer to worry that your plan will crash. Is it experiencing turbulence? No. Actually, it isn't the likelihood of dying in a plane crash is minuscule. Over the course of your journey, you should begin to worry as you leave the airport and get in an Uber or a taxi or drive yourself home in your own car. So, if you understand that, if you understand that every moment in the plane is in fact safer than the moment you spend on a crowd, suddenly safer than when you're walking as a pedestrian fixated on your smartphone and stepping into the crosswalk. That's when your third eye should search. Those are the moments where the sweat begin beating off on your forehead. Swing the blame and it's going to bounce. It is in fact unreasonable to worry that a bouncing means much of anything. You understand that that actually can have an effect. You can become willing to just experience the raw sensation of turbulence, and you can cease to interpret the experience as a sign of actual danger. This level which you can address this, and these are totally compatible moves and recommend all of you is to become mindful of the feeling of anxiety itself. What is it? And what does it mean? Well, it's just a pattern of energy in your body, and it actually doesn't mean anything. At the level of raw sensation of the mind have thoughts about it, and very likely much about thinking. In the moment, it's purpose told everything else not to feel that way, and on how to get it, on how to let it work. You stay away from thoughts, and just become willing to feel the raw sensation of anxiety. Actually, just surrender. You're resistant to it. Just feel it an energy. It can lose its meaning. It can become very difficult to distinguish from what under framing would be positive experience like excitement. How do you know the difference between being anxious or something about to happen and being excited? For the most part, it is the thoughts you're thinking when you're feeling that arousal. There's a cognitive conceptual overlay on top of the raw feeling. You can constantly reframe things, or you can step out of it altogether and just feel the raw energy of this experience. And we do that. Anxiety can be like any other experience that has no meaning for you as a person really doesn't say anything about you. So let's say you have a rash on your elbow and it's itching. Okay, that doesn't anything deep about you. As a person, it has no physiological implications. It might be unpleasant, it might be extraordinarily unpleasant, but it doesn't reach into your sense of who you are. Belief is great to respond to anxiety. And again, I'm not saying that there's no case in which drugs are valuable or even necessary. This may very well be, but for anxiety, it needs more other range. Deep way to respond to is to become willing to feel it, to cease to interpret it as important and to function in the midst of it. And then you pass anxiety rises and falls for any other emotion, and you're not continually thinking the thoughts that make you anxious. So they can't stay around very long. This is true of other unpleasant emotions like anger and sadness. They are continually resurrected about thoughts, and we're spending most of the time thinking without knowing the way of thinking. So mindfulness in particular is a very good antidote to this problem. But the trick is you can apply it as an antidote. You can't be mindful of anxiety so that it will go away. Become willing to feel it just like that burned right in you and discover that it doesn't matter or it simply comes and goes and you can functional. Right, so that is the end of this 10-minute speaking. See, see you guys in the 30-minute speaking and the 20-minute speaking French. Bye. And I'm not gonna stop it, and I'm not gonna skip it anymore because I really want to improve my English skill and my French skill. So I need to focus on the plan that I'm that I that that I've made. Okay, bye guys.